Texas Roadhouse.
Well,
Anyway, people coming out with walking in on it and what? What's the out here across kind of a couple blocks away. Gee, what do y'all want to drink? That's different.
Mr. Reed, it sure is good to see you.
Thank you.
Call this meeting to order. Please rise. This is Hamilton, would you please?
Yes, sir. If you'll join me. Father God, we are so thankful for this amazing moisture that you've sent to this area. We're just so thankful for your presence. And most importantly, we're just thankful for your love. And thank you for choosing to give that freely. And Lord, we know we could never do anything to earn your grace or your love, but we gladly receive it today and every day. And we just ask for your guidance and your direction over these commissioners today. Just help them to reflect you and all that they do and guide their decisions, Lord, to glorify you. Lord, thank you for this county. Thank you for this state and this nation. We just ask that you continue to bless all of our leaders at all the levels with more of your wisdom and less of theirs. We just thank you for your love and your son, and it's in his name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico, with this symbol, perfect friendship among the United Cultures.
Okay, item 1, approval of agenda.
Someone to approve, Mr. Chairman.
second.
Motion made and second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Approval of minutes of May 2nd, regular meeting and budget workshops.
I move to approve.
I'll second. Motion made and second to approve. Item 2, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 3, approval of accounts payable and payroll. And I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, passes. We have now item 4, public request. Mr. Reed, what do you have for us? Okay. I was just checking. Okay, nobody has anything. That's wonderful. Informational presentation, Mr. Ryan Craig.
All right. I need to get up there to the map.
I appreciate it if you would.
Okay.
They won't see you on the screen.
Want to see me on the screen?
They want to.
Chairman, commissioners, I guess this is my first go on our biannual update of what we're doing at the extension office. Did everybody get one of my little
Yes, sir.
flyers? Okay. Me and Patrick put this together, like I say, annually and biannually, not only for you guys, but for our upper administration. I mean, I don't want to read it to you. I mean, it's all the things that we've been doing. This pretty much goes through what we've done from January until now. I mean, the big picture of what we're doing in 4-H, and I can talk from that side of things. As of right now, we have 182 kids currently enrolled in the 4-H program. We've been gaining ground. It's not as good as it was before 2020, but we all know how that goes. But if we're gaining 5 to 10% a year, hopefully by the time we get a few more years under our belt, we'll be back to that 200 and a quarter, 240. So we have been pretty good in the last few months. We actually was taking lots of 4-H kids to activities. I mean, we're hauling lots of kids in lots of places. So, I mean, as you can read down here, we've been doing lots of things like our Progressive Ag Safety Day. We want to thank you guys for letting us use the facility the other day, the 1st of May. We actually had about 300 kids plus 40 or 50 adult chaperones, parents, teachers to our Roosevelt County Ag Explorer Day. So it's one of those deals that we're trying to promote agriculture in the 4-H program. We're trying to promote agriculture across all of Patrick's endeavors, as well as our family consumer sciences. So we're pushing a lot of different things this summer, things that are coming. In June, we're actually hosting the district contest for the 9 counties in our local district. So we will actually have anywhere from 250 to 300 4-H kids from the 9 surrounding counties in Roosevelt County at Eastern, as well as on the fairgrounds, to host our district contest this year. So that's coming the middle of June. With Patrick, we've got lots of other different beef quality assurance trainings and stuff like that that he's looking for in the future. So there's lots of that stuff coming. With our FCS side, our ladies are very, very active still. It's one of those programs that me and Patrick, as well as Charles, our administrative assistant, tries to help those ladies to continue to be active. And they've got lots of meetings coming up. So we thank you guys again for the facilities that you let us use and all those different aspects. But we've got lots of summertime activities. We've got lots of judging, lots of going different places. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions of what we're doing or where we're going or how many people we're taking or anything to that effect, commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question, but I would like to just commend you guys for what you guys do. It's awesome for the future of our kids are our future. My wife has been in that field for many, many years. Miss Rachel Lopez, she teaches at Adora. She's been with FCS, FCCLA, and she just got back from Anaheim from the BPA national competition with 5 of her kids from Dora. But anyway, I just really, really want to commend you guys for what y'all do. And I want to thank you guys.
Well, we appreciate you guys. Like I say, it takes a community to push agriculture, and it's one of those things that we talk about every day. Mr. Savage was able to come and talk to us at a meeting the other day, and we were laughing because we used a bunch of his ideas and a bunch of the community members' ideas to bring those kids in. And I was lucky enough on this Ag Day to, we actually do have 2 state officers in Roosevelt County this year. So we actually use those kids to talk about 4-H and promote agriculture in those green jackets in front of that 300 something 3rd graders. So it's one of those deals that everything that we can do on my side of the fence to promote agriculture, and if there's anything that we can do that you guys see that we're lacking of, we would appreciate the knowledge, appreciate your input into a program such as ours, because we all know the beauty of this community. Agriculture is what it's based upon, and that's what it's going to live and die on. Come on, Tina, you got to have a question for me. You said you're going to beat me up.
I think you're doing great.
Oh, thank you.
And I know that I get a lot of comments from the public. I get comments from the public on that facility as well, and in your department, and that, everybody seems to be very happy with you. That
Oh, we
kids
try.
like you.
We try just a little bit.
When the kids grow up, they'll learn not to.
Yeah,
but
they're like-
now they do.
You can listen when you want to, when you don't want to. So, but we appreciate
Still
we
do
appreciate
that.
all you guys do, and we appreciate Amber for letting me draw all over a calendar all the time. So,
Thank you, Ron.
yep. Thank you guys.
I appreciate it.
Ryan, I'd like to make a comment, when we're talking about, agriculture, that last item listed says assisted the District 4 livestock judging contest in March. This District 4, livestock judging, this is not a 4-H event.
Nope.
This is an FFA event. It's not really a district event. It's more like a Eastern New Mexico, possibly even a statewide event, because we have teams coming from as far away as Silver City to some of these, what we call career development events. And so it's also in conjunction with the ENMU. Dr. Baldock and her students participate. So it's an FFA, 4-H, ENMU, kind of a combined effort event that kids from all over the state come to prior to the state judging contest at New Mexico State University. And so he listed that as just a District 4 livestock judging contest. But in addition to the livestock judging contest, we're fortunate to have Ryan as an agent, and Patrick. Yeah, they do a great job in livestock judging, but that's not the only. A lot of our career development events in FFA and 4-H are basically the same thing, just different time of year. A lot of them the same kids, but Ryan and Patrick have a lot of years of experience and a lot of different career development events like land and pasture, the pasture and range evaluation, and agronomy and soils, and a lot of different aspects that they contribute, not just the 4-H program, but we rely on them a lot of times. Ryan trains FFA teams as well as 4-H teams. So we really just want to point out that they did a great job, not just 4-H, but they're very cooperative in a lot of other events also.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Savage. And to reiterate that, I mean, that's the beauty of the position that we hold in that office. We have the ability to work with other entities as well as, like say, that district. I mean, I went and borrowed the water co-op backhoe and we went and dug a land pit. So, I mean, it's one of those things that we don't only serve the real youth of Roosevelt County. We try to serve anybody that is coming into Roosevelt County and try to make everything the best we can for them, as well as for ourselves, you know what I mean? And that's the beauty of us getting to host district contests this year. We get to actually show the facilities that we have. We get to show, the quality of animals and the quality of a contest that we can put on. And we also, my alma mater may not like it as much, but it's one of those deals when we have a university such as ENMU in our community. Why not use them? You know what I mean? Why not use their facilities? Why not use their people? Why not use their things? So we're always looking to partner up or all use their facilities as well as their staff and expertise to make the best for us as well as our kids. So, I mean, it's one of those deals when we roll the grand scheme of the way 4-H and NMSU process works in my office and Patrick's office is to make the best better. And it doesn't matter whether it's a kid from Silver City or a kid from Roosevelt County. If we can help them in any way, shape, or form, we're going to do it. So.
What is your alma mater?
I got a bachelor's from ENMU and I've got a master's from NMSU. So I'm kind of a split.
I'm an Aggie. So
Like I
that's
said,
why I was asking.
I'm kind of a split decision. So I'll go with the Greyhound first, you know what I mean? But it's one of those deals that we work for an institution that is a good one. And it's one of those things that we actually have an institution in our community that is a good one. So it's one of those things that the beauty of having both ends of the spectrum and having the ability to offer different opportunities for kids. And that's what we talk about with Eastern all the time, or with Baldock, is if NMSU doesn't have the ability to host those kids or have that particular degree program, maybe Eastern does. So it's one of those things that we live in kind of a world that we're trying to push kids to be better, whether it be go to a welding school or go to an AI school or go to something like that. I mean, our job in the grand scheme of things is kind of like Savage used to be, is to make those kids better no matter what.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Appreciate it, Ryan.
Yep. Thank you.
Mandy, would you like to brighten our day for the?
Sure, commissioners. I just have a few things to report. The clerk's office has some deadlines coming up for the regular local election. The entities that are on the ballot for November of this odd year are soil and water conservations, hospital districts, those kinds of things, school districts. Those entities have from June 10th till July 10th to tell us what they're going to need on the ballot this coming November. And then on August 9th is going to be candidate filing day for filling those positions. So school board members, hospital district, the positions. And they also have to tell us at the same time if they're going to have a tax question, a bond question, anything like that. So June 10th to July 10th is building the ballot. August 9th is filling in the blanks for who's going to run for those positions. Entities that have not yet opted in, municipals, Causey, Dora, Floyd have opted in. So their mayor race, their councilors, those will all be on this ballot as well in November. Elida and the city of Portales have not opted in yet. So, they have until June 30th to adopt an ordinance if they choose to opt in. I spoke to Portales City Council at the last meeting on May 9th about the November election. They asked for some options, what their options are. They asked lots of questions, actually. I gave them an option of a draft of an ordinance to opt in and shorten their terms, a draft of an ordinance to opt in and extend their terms, or take no action and continue with the municipal election. I gave Kim and Elida the same information. They had already discussed it on their February agenda, so I didn't go out there and present to them. They are not going to opt in this round. They voted on that in February. The city council votes tonight to either publish a notice of intent to opt in at their next meeting or not. So we'll see what they decide this evening. We are planning, two of us, Lisa and I, to go to conference in June. Next month, we have at our commission meeting in June, we have to appoint a 5-member board for the Board of Registration. In the past, that's been the 3-member board, Sharon Davis, Emily Lawn, and Tate Turnbow. So I still need 2 additional names from you all on who might be willing to serve. They have to be registered voters of Roosevelt County, and they cannot have changed their party affiliation in the last 2 years.
Should they be from each district?
It's not, it doesn't matter. They're at large, 5 at large. Sharon, Emily, and Tate are willing to continue to serve. So it could be anybody. There does have to be a balance of the parties. So I need 1 Democrat and 1 Republican, or a Republican and a declined state, or 2 declined states, or, whatever.
Okay.
But I need those names in enough time to, bless you, in enough time to check that they are qualified to serve before we actually appoint them. I had another thing, and I don't remember what it was. Oh yeah, next month we also have to do the resolutions to assign the polling locations, and we don't have a need for any changes. All of our polling locations that we've used in the past are good spots, handicap accessible, easy to find, easy to park, and we don't have enough or too many voters at any one location where we have to have a 7th spot. So the ones that we have are good, and those are the ones that I intend to bring in a resolution next month. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Thank you, Mandy, for your presentation. And please correct me if I'm wrong. If the city opts in, isn't that going to save them like a lot of money?
They would not have to pay for their own election if they opted in. It would be on this
Which is
Secretary of
in the-
State's dime.
Which is in the tens of the thousands, right?
They reported spending $8,600 on the last one.
Which was not a big general election though. So
It could save.
That should be like a no-brainer
The,
for the city, but I'm just saying.
the House Bill 4 that passed in January or at the last legislative session, increased the poll worker pay. So that 8,600 would go up. So it could reach 10,000 if they chose.
And I'm going to speak for myself, not for the rest of the commission, but I know that it's not burdensome or the workload's going to be a lot tougher on you guys if they do opt in. So I'm willing to support you in any which way that we can, Mandy, as our Roosevelt County Clerk.
We're going to have an election, whether they're on it or not, because we've got all the
Right.
school boards and everything. So we're going to have an election. It would be more work for them to have another one in March, but
Exactly.
we'll see what their decision is tonight.
Well, I would like the record to reflect that I would support you in whatever we would need to support you with.
Thank you.
Dale. Or let me see, Mrs. Sanchez.
That's kind of loud. It's never been this loud.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. I'm here to give you your general fund cash report as of the end of March. Your beginning cash balance in general fund was $2,044,588.76. You had debits of $634,369.46, and you had credits of $659,747.47, leaving your ending cash general fund March 30th, 2023 of $2,019,210.75. Do any of you have any questions over any of your fund balances in your report? Do you have any other questions of the Treasurer's Office? Great, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Hamilton.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. So just a few things to run down. We're really excited. We're still working on recruiting any youth that are interested in our summer intern program. And we are said that we're going to receive funding for somewhere between 40 and 50 kids. We're looking at about a 7-week program. We do have our 3 coordinators on board, and they will serve about 8 weeks. They oversee all of these kids in terms of their placements and such. So we're still accepting businesses that are interested in sponsoring these kids and giving them those experiences, the entities and everything, as well as the kids. And we've seen dozens this week just coming in, because we do have a deadline of Friday, just getting in their initial applications so that we can work through the placement process. So really excited about that. We're hopeful we'll be seeing the agreement from the state soon. We have all the information on our website. The students can get to our applications and all the forms that we need from them. And of course, they can call our administrative office to ask any questions if they need to. We're hearing from a lot of parents that are wanting to get their kids placed. So it's always exciting to partner with those parents and guardians. We did apply for federal funding again this year. Our initial applications, we have 2 on the list with Senator Heinrich's office for detention and for the courthouse. So we will closely monitor that and see, hopeful that something works through like last year did with our Arch fire truck. We did confirm that the storage container out at the extension office parking lot is going to be removed. It's scheduled to be removed within the next 30 days. So that should be taken care of in time to allow for the zero-scaping project out there. We've been working with District Court. They're going to utilize the basement space. When Mr. Montiel relocated to the Bonham home, it opened up his office, and Mr. Spinks and his staff wanted to move over there. So they reallocated. The assessor's office was able to use that back room for filing and some things that they were needing. So that opened up all of that suite over on the opposite side adjacent to that office in the basement. The court needs to utilize that. They really need to have some space for their treatment court and their offices. So it worked out really well to partner with the 9th Judicial District Court staff to be able to have them placed over there. They're going to do some minor renovations. They're going to take care of some flooring and some paint and everything like that. So we're excited to see them utilizing the space. We are working on other projects at the facilities as weather permits. We did have our courthouse parking lot scheduled for this last weekend, but thankfully we were interrupted with some showers. So we will wait and get that done a little bit later. We are working on some painting projects. The company that did the painting at the extension office is going to come back and touch up and repaint over there as it's worn off. And at the same time, we're coordinating and they're going to paint at the bottom home now that we have the new parking in the front for the emergency management and EOC area. We are hoping to chip seal on North-South Roosevelt Road A up there in District 2. We've had that reworked. We've just had some delays due to the rain. So again, thankful, and we're hopeful to have that chip seal next week. And then we're going to micro seal that, and that will close out our TPF project, and that should be done by June 30. And then we're also working on our Roosevelt County Health Clinic that houses La Casa. We are in the process. We've awarded the bid for the re-stucco, and we received some of the funding through the capital outlay, but we are waiting on the company to finish the stucco project at the detention center before they relocate over there to finish that one. And we have our RAID grant going. I know y'all likely heard our radio spot. So we have that playing several times a day. Thank you, Commissioner Lopez, for getting that report recorded. And then Mr. Lovato reported this morning that he has all the signs up for the illegal dumping in all the hot spots. So our problem areas, making sure it's posted. The sheriff's office is working with us on enforcement. Of course, the resolution that y'all adopted several years back in terms of any kind of reward is still in place. So we're hoping that we can work on curbing that. And then Ms. Flores also has a banner going up, and we'll be utilizing that over the course of the next several months. So we're closing out the RAID grant, finishing up strong, but got a lot of signage, really trying to focus on that illegal dumping that's happening throughout the county. The last thing that I will touch on is we received a surprise bill from the state of New Mexico General Services Department. As I shared with y'all a little bit earlier, it came in May 5th. It caught all of us counties by surprise and municipalities. We were not aware of anything. We ask each year as we set to budget if there's going to be an increase in benefits, what we need to do. We knew there should be some kind of adjustment. Certainly not sure as to why this wasn't addressed during the budget session. This could have been handled during their process this year, but they chose not to. And instead, they chose to wait until after a point of no return and 45 days left in our budget year to send us a bill for $141,000 and change and an additional $65,000 and change next year. So our total overage amount that they're looking at is $209,000. The Municipal League sent them a response on the letter stating, to the state auditor, concerns about these retroactive payments. Because again, we all got confirmation of what the rates were said to be. It didn't give us a chance to withhold those from our employers and employees and our required, percentage matches and such. So we're waiting to hear on that. And then New Mexico Counties was also making sure that they went on record with them of this is not something that any of us have budgeted. Completely understand we're still in our preliminary stages. So if we were needing to try to figure out how to work in a premium increase for fiscal year 24, we can certainly do that before y'all have to adopt our final budget in July. It's just there is a severe lack of communication with the state and with these local entities and what they're trying to imply and enact.
So what can we do, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, what can we do to as a rebuttal or to combat that? Because I don't think that's fair.
Well, and Commissioner Lopez, Mr. Chair, so that's what we've communicated with. We've had a couple of meetings with key leaders with New Mexico counties. We've made sure that our legal teams are all aware of it. I know the county attorneys have been made aware of this situation as well. What's interesting is in some of the bills, she vetoed some of it. some of the language and didn't the others, which we're told has almost made it more cumbersome. So we're still awaiting some kind of, we've put in a request for an opinion from the state auditor, of course, and the attorney general the state auditor in terms of meeting those retroactive payment requirements. But right now, we're not doing anything. And what New Mexico counties, what we all said on the call was, no one's processing these payments because we don't know how to authorize them at this point. It's something to look for next year, but we're all trying to just be on the same page because right now we're understanding it's higher ed, the municipalities and the counties. So as long as all three of us can somewhat find a united approach to this, I feel like there's more strength in those numbers because this really is unacceptable.
And if we need, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I would love to even go as far as doing some type of letter against this. Commissioner Dixon, as an NMC board member, what do you think?
I agree, that's fine. I think we need to do something.
Yes, because that's just unfair and it's just, well, it doesn't surprise me, but I just don't think that we should be having a debt that's retro, in my opinion.
This kind of reminds me of that old saying, if I can remember it, about how a lack of planning on your part could precipitate a crisis on my part.
Or like on your part shouldn't constitute an emergency on mine. I mean, really, it's just, anyway, that's where I stand.
Agree, something, I'd be in favor of formulating some sort of a letter of protest. As long as people just don't say anything, this type of behavior probably continue.
And I love your saying, Commissioner Savage, we have got to be good stewards of our taxpayers and our constituents and our people here in Roosevelt County. And I just don't think it's fair. And that's my opinion.
No, I agree. And we've talked about, that's why New Mexico counties as a whole went on record for all New Mexico counties saying, this is the opposition, we need clarification. The initial veiled threat that we're receiving, of course, is one, they can withhold dollars that would be allocated to us in other forms and fashions, whether it's small counties assistance, equalization, grant reimbursements, things like that. They said that they would look at withholding those revenues if we did not satisfy our debts. And then, of course, they also said that it could have a negative impact on our employees. So those are all the things that we wanted clarification on. They're making these broad general implications or directed threats, and we just need to have a better understanding of really what we're looking at. And we're still waiting on communication. I haven't received an update this week.
And please just keep a watch on it, Amber, please, for us. And then I would be willing to go to Santa Fe if I need to. I'll go meet with the governor, lieutenant governor, and anyone else, to be honest with you, to address this issue. So just keep an eye on it, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
I have a question on your report. It's not about that. I'm going to go way back to the Xeriscape. What did we decide we were going to have to do with that big tree out there?
So I don't have any notes. Mr. Spinks made the recommendation of the removal because of the roots and the issues that we're having with that. But until we get down in it and we see what's going on, if it's a place where we can relocate it, then that would be something that we could do and move it out further away. It's just wanting to ensure that it's not impacting the integrity of the building like it was in the front. The other tree that they had to remove, once they got down to the roots and saw it was busting up all the sidewalks, that's what required that removal. So I don't know that there's been a clear plan at this point in terms of exactly what's going to happen. And that's where we're partnering with the extension office and just helping them with some of the materials. So if we find that it can be sustained, then great. But if it's going to be causing potential issues to the building, then it's going to have to be removed or relocated. If we can relocate it, not sure what the root ball is going to look like once we get down there.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Commissioner, what about the storage unit you said is to be removed? Is it ours or who's it? Who
No,
Ever determined who it
Yes.
belongs to?
so it belongs to the Department of Motor Vehicles motorcycle licensing program, and they do licensing equipment. They have it out here. They do testing and they get everyone certified. And it's interesting because I think in the early conversations, Mr. Garcia was actually very familiar with this program and everything. And we went online and found it. Mr. Spinks went and took pictures and we started tracking it down. Emily did a lot of great work just trying to figure out who it belonged to. And so it does belong to them. They are responsible for the equipment inside and they are removing it. They did not even know it was here.
And what about the back lease for placing it there?
There wasn't a back lease because it's another governmental entity and there was no such agreement in place. So there was no need for any kind of lease since it's another government.
It's a shame.
Just glad it's going to be gone.
I have too. It's an eyesore. You know. All
Yep.
right.
Okay, Roy Lee, do you have anything else?
Yes, sir.
Here,
First off, I've received a lot of complaints about trees being overgrown on county roads. Where it's trucks and school buses, cars. If a car is coming and a school bus, either one of them has to stop to let the other one through because the trees will break up against the school bus. The same on the trucks. The trucks are having to, cattle trucks and feed trucks, deliver feed and stuff, are having to maneuver around, keeping the tree limbs off the exhaust stacks and the trailers, you know, ripping off lights in there. Road in particular is going west out of Elida. The blacktop that was just chip sealed, micro sealed the other day, or here a while back.
19 and 18.
And anyway, I've had several complaints on there. And then they said off, I believe on County Road 35, down there by, I'll call it Miss Tucker's place. Nora Tucker's place down there. I've received many complaints on those about that.
We just need to know the exact locations and we'll get them on a list. We're
See if we
happy to-
can't get them removed or trimmed back or something, you know. So I do know that we're going west of Eddie Light is pretty bad. Little ones, big ones,
Mhm.
everything. And then on a positive note, me and Miss Dixon met with city councilman the other day. We had a very positive, encouraging meeting on talk about detention and some other, and the fire EMS, and real positive. And they meet tonight and we'll come back and see what else is going to happen. But it was a very positive meeting and I was happy.
yes, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, in reference to what Commissioner Griswold was talking about, I'd like to just mention something that I've mentioned for many, many years, because of course, with my other job, I've done what's called access to recovery, supportive employment, where I put people to work. I'm a job developer. What's the status on getting a work detail with our inmates?
They're already out. We already have work details.
Okay,
They already are
good.
performing the work.
Then can you address the places that Commissioner has been addressing on trying to get those trees and everything, all that stuff done?
So it's on our list. We'll have to look at it. It's not commonly one that we actually use the work detail on because of the safety and the liability exposure with the equipment that's being used. But if they can partner with our road team to do it together like we have in the past, we will certainly do that.
Please do.
We will look at it. Yes, sir.
Work ethic is key.
Tina?
Okay, yeah, and on Road 19, Amber, we did that one. I've turned that one in a couple of times. I think it was probably about 6 or 8 months ago, the last time that I got a call on that, and I understood that Ricky went out and trimmed the trees.
They did.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, I was in
But-
the,
There's like trees as you come out of Elida, there's trees
Yeah.
around the curve, there's trees down the bottom, there's trees, like it's everywhere. And so we aren't going to be able to have all of them removed by any means, but we can certainly go out there and see if we can't trim some of those back. We don't have the applicator license or anything to be able to have them permanently removed with appropriate poison and such. So it's something we just have to trim, and we'll take our wood chipper out there as we go, but we can get that scheduled. And yes, ma'am, you're correct. We did that just a few months ago because we had to do it when they did the micro sealing to keep them off. It's just, they grow.
Right. Okay. And I also wanted to say that, echo what Commissioner Criswell said, that we did meet with them. And I also think it was a very positive meeting, and, they'll have their meeting tonight, and then we'll be able to come back, hopefully come back to y'all with something in the next couple of weeks. So I think that's all and Ben's still working on the lesser prairie chicken stuff and the endangered species. And I don't know if y'all are aware, but one of the things is that Congress had passed a bill to delist the lesser prairie chicken. And it is passed, but it is on the president's desk, which I'm suspecting is going to get a veto, whether it be a hard one with a signature, if he's just going to pocket veto it. But anyway, it did pass. So even if it, gets vetoed, that's a little more ammunition we have that, even they know that there's an issue and it doesn't need to be listed. There's never been, as far as I can find, there's never been any endangered species that's been listed that's ever been taken off because it flourished or anything else like that. So I'm not exactly sure what listing these is doing, but anyway, I just wanted to give you all that little update.
Thank you, Tina.
Rod?
I drove Roosevelt Road 8 off the third curve going east. It's developed into a health hazard. As I drove way on down past almost to G there, that's the road that comes north out of Arch. There's a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit sign down there. And I really, in my opinion, think that if a person were to drive 55 miles an hour, they would have a very difficult time dodging the potholes. And if they were to meet a truck, which there are lots of trucks, it could wind up causing a wreck. Especially like the first like mile off the third curve. It's terrible. But Roosevelt Road 8, and I know that I'm very proud of our road crews because I drove several roads in my district and they've just done a great job. The roads are in good shape. They're grading them. They're re-caliche, and our road crew does great. But that 8 has been a problem for a while. It's been bad for a while, and now it's worse. So I don't know what can be done to that, but I think it's not just difficult on equipment now. I think it has turned into a health hazard. And that 55-mile speed limit sign down there, if a person didn't know, come in from the east and didn't realize they weren't native and didn't realize what bad shape that road was, and they headed west on that road at 55 miles an hour, they could cause, I think it's bad enough that they could cause a wreck. I'm concerned about it.
So
And
Commissioner, just a few things to hit on that one. First, the speed limit on county roads is established by statute. So if that's something y'all want to reduce or study, there's a process that we can start to reduce the speed limit on that road. Are you looking at the whole section of the road from 88 to the Texas line? Or how far do you want to go on 8 in terms of limiting the speed limit?
Well, as far as when the chip seal ends down there, when it makes a curve and goes back to 88, that's sort of it's Caliche Road. And the high speeds kind of police itself.
Mhm.
When it's chip sealed. And when it's chip sealed and, along with chip seal comes excessive speeds.
Mhm.
And people, we really, appreciate the chip seal, people like it, but then along with that, people are gonna speed. And we've already talked some about this issue, and our sheriff's office doesn't have the personnel to police those roads to deter, to put enough deputies out there to deter that type of activity.
Mhm.
But I sure think that the speed limit sign ought to be reduced at least to 45.
So we can work on that one, and Mr. Lovato, he can start the process, and we'll focus on the chip seal session. That'll be something that has to go through the study process, contact the first responders, get everybody's opinion like we did. And then also come back. There's like a DOT requirement of what needs to be done. And then the commission would have to adopt a lower speed limit, like what we did with South Roosevelt Road or North Roosevelt Road AB to the base to drop the speed limit. So there's definitely a process to do that. South Roosevelt Road 8 is on the list of priorities. We've ensured it's been on there for several years. We just have not had the funding yet to do that. I think 1 mile is going to be somewhere between 60 and 75,000 a mile, and we have it on the priority list. We just don't have it accomplished in terms of the funding yet. So I know you do have it on your priority list for the 5-year road plan. I just am not sure where we're at in terms of funding because we're going to have to do some sections. But I will certainly ask Mr. Lovato to look at that so that we can determine the worst sections and if there's some patching that we can do initially. I know they've been patching the last couple of months, so if we need to get back out there and do some more patching, they can continue to look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Mhm.
Chairman, instead of limiting the speed limit and all that stuff that you guys are discussing, why don't we just prioritize RR8 and get it fixed?
Well, we're in our,
It is a priority. It's on the list. We just haven't had the funding awards yet.
Because that's going to be like a huge process and everything. And then if it's a hazard, a public hazard, like I think we should prioritize that.
that's what
Yes,
you're
sir, it
saying.
is.
We have.
Well,
We
it's
have-
not done though. It's prioritized, but
Well,
it's
I
not
said we have
done.
Money. As
Well,
soon as
actually, we
get the
do.
money, we'll-
Actually, we do. Anyway, that's my thought.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, is it my turn? Is it my turn?
I already thought you had your turn, but go ahead.
No, I went under her agenda line item. No, I just want to mention on RR6, we were all very instrumental in working with the city to do RR6, and I'm very grateful because that was also a public hazard. But Amber, Lime Street, I know that I've been talking about Lime Street for many moons now. Is there any way we can do something to assist the city in trying to address that street? We're doing everything that we can that's vested within our power to enhance the fairgrounds in every aspect, shape and form. But then again, we have Lime Street, which is like third world country. It floods, it's ridiculous. So is there any way we can maybe collaborate with them and see if we can do a joint project with them or help them out like we're doing RR6?
And so certainly we can look at that in the future. I will warn you right now, we just don't have the capacity. Our road crew is stretched as thin as they are with the maintenance and the existing projects that they're finishing up. But it is something we've already talked about. We just need to get one of these projects done first. So we need to get 6 completed before we can really endeavor onto Lime. So yes.
Well, I have a year and a half left from termed out and I want that Lime Street done. We do, right, Mr. Chairman?
I believe it's on the city priority list too. I'm happy to circle back and I'm sure that our negotiators down here can have that conversation in one of their meetings as well. I just know that Mr. Lovato's team has everything already planned out through this year with all the work that they have to get completed because of our local government road funds, the TPF projects and the capital outlay.
It's just events are coming. to our town. We're promoting events to come to our town. And then at the fairgrounds, people from all over are expected to come here, visit, and then entryway to the fairgrounds is that road. And it's just horrendous. And I just think that we need to do something.
Well, I would say that the city could certainly apply for the community development block grant and do that road there too. Like that would be a great source for them since it is their roadway. We just saw the publication on that funding come out yesterday. So that could be something that they could pursue as well. I know they've used those successfully for road projects before, and especially because there's going to be some concrete ADA work, curb and gutter type stuff. So that could be a great outlet, especially for that little stretch. I think it's about half or 3/4 of a mile.
In reference to that, no comment.
Are you through? Mr.
Yes,
Wilkins?
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 7. We must go into public hearing, I believe. Do I hear a motion?
To go into public hearing.
Second,
Motion made and second to go into public hearing. Roy Lee, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
5 yes votes. Motion passes. We are now in public hearing.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Just to hit a few highlights in terms of what we were able to do with the budget to get it to a point of balancing. At this point, we have a $18,986 positive operating margin. So always exciting when we're in the black. We did make some adjustments. So first thing is in terms of we did see an increase in our workers' comp rates, and that was based on our payroll exposure. That was something that came from the latest meeting with the New Mexico County's Insurance Board. And again, that's all based upon our payroll exposure and their audits that they do each year. We also had some vacancies. So we saw about a 26% increase overall in what our contribution was from last year to this year, because they did have a 25% discount that they had offered in years past. But at this point, the board saw that we had to become fiscally whole and couldn't offer those discounts anymore post-COVID. We had to get back to the point, keeping that full healthy financially. We do have payroll, which is the substantial portion of our budget at 6.83 million and change. And out of a 10.9 million revenue and just shy of 12.2 million in expenditures, which includes funding to the road department and those transfers. So it is a significant portion. It remains to be. We did make those adjustments in it. And we do have positions that were vacant last year that are filled this year within the detention center and the sheriff's office. So we knew there was going to be some difference in our payroll exposure and such. We did adjust our property tax budget, our projected revenues to somewhere around 94% of the collection based upon what we felt comfortable with and where our budget is performing. And in working with the county treasurer's suggestions on that as well, we were at 93%. So we feel good on that one. We did have 1/2 of a new position with the clerk's office that was included in that funding to help her with the projects that she presented to y'all on in the workshop. And then those are the main highlights in the general fund and the adjustments. And then of course, in the local assistance for travel and county community funds, it's the LATCF. We received $50,000 this last year. We utilized that for our strategic planning, and we utilized a portion of that for the overrun that we're going to have on our food pantry. We're looking at about 45,000 on an overrun with the food, with the building and the parking area and the driveways and all the things that we're having to do, and the taps for the city utilities and such. So we're continuing to look at that and watch those overages. We did receive 170,000, and we've stayed in regular communication with the state in terms of their food security grant monies. In the event that someone turns it back, we've just assured them we can put that money to good use quickly, and they can enhance our grant from the 170,000 to upwards of an additional 45 and make us whole on those. But it's coming along great. Mr. Nixon is finishing up that project this week. He anticipates or next week. And so we should be able to do a walkthrough and have that all handled before the end of the fiscal year as we had budgeted and planned. So then in terms of 460, there would be some additional rollover. We made those adjustments. That's the healthcare clinic for Roosevelt County. And we finished the parking part. We are just needing to wrap up the stucco of the building and the resurfacing. So everything is looking good there. Those were the highlighted changes that we have. We worked and made sure that we've got our positive operating margin and made those adjustments as y'all discussed in your workshop. So I would, the other thing is there are some items that we've left highlighted because of the ongoing negotiations with the city. So we are not certain as to what the revenues will look like on housing of detainees, because of course the city, depending on how the negotiations go, that could change. Housing of juveniles and their payment of any portion until they're booked or arraigned with those expenditures. And then also in terms of any kind of EMS contribution, y'all don't have anything budgeted at this point. You've taken care of the rural fire departments in the community and allocated the initial funding there, but we're all waiting to see how the negotiations go with the city before those are plugged in. So those are just the things that are highlighted in our preliminary budget, and I would stand for any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to come out of public hearing.
Motion made, second to come out. Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
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 5 yes votes. We're now back in regular session.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve agenda item 7A as presented by our county manager, Amber Hamilton, to approve the FY 24 preliminary budget.
Now second that. Motion been made and second to approve our preliminary budget. Be a roll call vote. Mr. Savage?
Yes.
Lopez?
Yes.
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 5 yes votes. Moving on, item 8A.
Morning, I'm Russell Bilry with Melanson Fire Department,
Yes, sir.
and we were requesting approval to purchase a command vehicle for the department. We've decided on a 3/4 ton, 4-door, 4-wheel drive pickup. We have found one at Chalmers Ford in Rio Rancho who participate in the statewide price agreement. They're the best price that we have found of anything around. We have more than enough funds in our county fire funds to purchase this, and just need an approval, and wondered if y'all had any questions.
Okay.
I move to approve item 8A.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve 8A. Tina, how do you vote?
Yes.
Roy Lee?
Yes.
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 5 yes votes.
Thank you.
Thank you. 8B.
We should have had you like on the top of the agenda item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Standing with me is Arch EMS Director, Mr. Hugh Frank. So we've been working closely, myself, Mr. Frank, and Fire Chief Lang about getting a new life pack for their volunteer fire department. I think it's been in the works several years, I think since I started. So we're finally happy to present a request for approval to purchase this life pack. Stryker is the vendor. They're also with statewide price agreement, and they're giving us opportunity to purchase this 30 over $33,000 life pack purchase, and the prices just keep going up each year. They're giving us an opportunity to purchase this life pack over a 5-year payment plan, which is included in your meeting packet. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve agenda item 8B as presented by Juliana Rivera.
I'll second that. Motion made and second to approve 8B. Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
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 5 yes votes. I'm sorry it wasn't more difficult. I know you're sweating, but
Yes.
okay, 8C, request request for approval to award RFP 2023-7 Roosevelt County Detention Center Comprehensive Detainee Medical, Mental, something other healthcare services.
Ancillary, yes, sir. Sorry about that, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. So as y'all are aware, this is something that's been in the works, and we have been working through this process since February, and we did receive notice from our current provider, WellPath, that is providing healthcare services at our facility, that they do not intend to rebid or submit their proposal, and they did not respond to the RFP. We did have one entity that did respond, and then we also had several ongoing meetings with the local hospital. Our hope was that we could figure out how to partner here locally and provide those services. However, we received final notification from the hospital late last week that in light of their current situation and where they're at, this is not something that they feel comfortable taking on at this point. And so what we are asking today is your approval so that we can continue to move forward. This is getting down to less than 45 days for a transition. And there are steps that can be initiated while we negotiate a final contract agreement. It will be within the parameters that we talked about within our budget workshops. But we don't have a final dollar amount at this point to present. Y'all would be presented with a final contract at the next meeting. Currently, we have that scheduled for June 20th, but in the meantime, we certainly need to have some of the initial processes moving forward in terms of licensure for pharmaceutical, CLIA licensures, contracts and agreements with external vendors and such that they come in. We had extensive meetings with personnel and leadership from Roadrunner Health Services, as well as myself, our Chief Procurement Officer, Ms. Rivera, and the Detention Administrator, Ms. Ramsey, and our MAP Program Manager, Ms. Paulus. A very lengthy meeting to really go through some things we're still sharing. They were able to share some policies late last night and some protocols that we had requested. So we're still working through those processes. This is not to say that we might not come back and tell y'all we couldn't reach an agreement. We just want to move forward with this to ensure that in the event we can find that successful agreement, everything is streamlined.
Okay.
I would stand for any question.
The only question I was gonna have, you answered it. You guys have done y'all's research and have been meeting with them, so good. I move to approve agenda item 8C as presented by our county manager, Amber Hamilton.
I'll second that. Motion made and second to approve 8C. Tina,
Yes.
Roy Lee,
Yes.
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 and yes, 5 yes votes. And yes, you've got to do my thing. We're now at item 9, executive session. I move to go into executive session.
I'll second.
Motion made second to go into executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now, do you need to read that, Mrs. Dixon?
Pursuant to 10-15-1 NMSA 1978, attorney-client privilege information pertaining to threatened or pending litigation, specifically Hernandez versus Roosevelt County, Ramirez Padilla versus Roosevelt County, State of New Mexico versus Lee County ETAL, and to discuss attorney-client privileged information relating to pending or threatening litigation